Brand new to LinkedIn, then this is for you. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people that are posting content and they just wonder, why am I not getting any views? Why am I not getting any engagement? Why am I not getting any leads? And I go and take a look at their content. I take a look at their profile, and there's some very obvious mistakes that they're making that is preventing them from getting the leads and getting engagement and growing. And so this is a resource that I put together with my friend Daniel Bustamante, and I'll walk you through several different steps to make sure that your profile is optimized, you're getting engagement, you're getting views, you're getting leads from your content. So let's show you a couple things. Let's start with this idea of optimizing your profile. So this is like a website or a landing page. It's where people go to check you out. And in 2 seconds or 3 seconds, you want them to know that you are someone that they should follow. And so I have a post right here that walks you through the exact steps that I would follow. And in the image, you can see here, you want to have a profile photo that's zoomed in on your face. You want to use this cover image. A lot of people will just leave it blank. Ideally, you want to be verified and have LinkedIn Premium. Those are more nice to haves than needs to have. Your bio should explain what you do, who you help, and why they should follow you. And I like to use some type of credibility there. You should have this book an appointment link, which will show up on all of your posts. This is if you want to book calls directly. You could have it say view my website or view my newsletter if you'd prefer. About section should have a good hook where people want to click the see more button. You can add the services section. That's also a nice to have, not a need to have. And then your featured post should be calls to action. So this one is where people book calls with me, and then these two are lead magnets that they can click on and get on my email list. And then obviously if you're posting frequently, then you'll show up. And that is how you optimize your profile, very simply. All right, let's move on to how to write and format your posts. So there's a few things here that are important. The first is that you want to make sure that you know where your hook cuts off. And so this is a tool I use where you could come in here, and let's just grab this, for example. And if I drop it in here, do you see how it shows on mobile where it's cutting off, the ... more? You might think that on desktop you're looking and you say, oh, here are a few resources to help you craft engaging, easy to read posts. Oh, that's a nice place to cut off. But then on mobile, it just says to help you craft, and it cuts off. And so you want to be very intentional about what it looks like, especially because 80% of users are on mobile. And so that is very crucial. And then a couple other things that are worth pointing out. So this is a great article by Justin Welsh, and he talks about all of the different pieces of a piece of content. So the meat, that's the actual post. By the way, look at how it's very easy to see the number 1, number 2, number 3. They all have the same format where he's saying a word. He has a little colon and a sentence for each of those. And then below each of them, look how much space there is between each sentence. It's very readable. It's not a huge chunky paragraph. The trailer, that's like the hook part. And then the summary and CTC, what is called a conversation is what he says, where he says asks a question or something. So this is a great article you could take a look at. Other mistakes people make is they do those chunky paragraphs. They throw hashtags in everything. Hashtags don't make a difference anymore. And if you want to look at some more, I've got some more listed here. Next is the LinkedIn hook. Usually if you're not getting any reach or if you're not getting any engagement, it's because your hooks aren't good. And I feel confident saying that 75-80% of people that are posting on LinkedIn just post terrible hooks. And so there's a few resources here that I think would be useful. This is one idea that you need to understand. So there's this idea of a curiosity gap. So you can see here, if I were to say, a client did 1 million in sales last year with case study posts, and he did it with blah, blah, blah. That's one way to start the post, right? It could be, now let's do a second option, which is going to be the same exact post, just with a different hook. A client did 1 million in sales last year, period, all with this one kind of post. And that's where it cuts off. You can see here, that's where the see more shows. And everyone who sees this is going to be very curious. What type of post was this client posting in order to do $1 million in sales last year? Because I want that result. And just that little difference, that creates curiosity for people, gets them to click, and you'll probably get 10 times more people to click on the post than if you just do it alone. So that is one idea. The second idea, and this will be very tactical, is these are great starters. Start with a strong declarative sentence, a moment in time, a thought-provoking question, a vulnerable statement, a weird, unique insight, a controversial opinion, or an authoritative sentence. If you start with those, chances are the hook's going to be a lot better. Next is creating content consistently, because you can write a great hook, you can make a great post, but unless you're doing it consistently, you're not going to see the results. And so my favorite framework here is the idea of sacred hours. You basically pick a time. It could be every day for an hour. It could be once a week for 4 hours. Whatever it is, you pick a sacred time and you set it aside, and that's your dedicated writing time. You don't worry about anything else. You put your phone away and you just treat it as if it were sacred. And when you do that, you're able to create content on a consistent basis. So for me, Mondays are my content day. Every Monday I sit down, I do all my tweets, I do all my LinkedIn posts, I do all of my email newsletters. I'll often do the YouTube videos, everything on Mondays. And so I just say, look, I'm probably not going to get that much stuff done outside of content today, and that's okay. So you might not be able to afford an entire day for that, but could you set aside 3 hours on a Friday morning or a Saturday morning? Probably. Next, how to come up with content ideas. So I really like this. I'll give you two tidbits here. Hormozi, in his book $100 Million Leads, he talks about a few ways to come up with content ideas. He says, look in your far past and look for stories that are interesting. So maybe you started a business 5 years ago and you failed, and you can talk about that experience. Look in your recent past. So over the last 2 weeks, pull up your calendar, pull up your journal, pull up your messages, your emails, and try and figure out, is there something interesting that happened? Maybe you had a call with a client or with a prospect and they asked some questions that you were able to answer, and that would make for great content. There's a lot of gold sitting in those conversations. Next is look in the present. So as things are happening throughout the day, as you have thoughts, just jot them down. You could actually tweet them if you wanted to, or you could just jot them down in an Apple Note and turn them into content later. Next is trending. So if, let's say, I talk about B2B marketing a lot. So if there's a big change in the algorithm that is everyone's talking about, then me jumping on that, there's already a lot of eyeballs there. I'm just attracting them to what I'm writing. That's trending. And then lastly is manufactured, which is basically like a Mr. Beast video where you say, oh, I did this for a year and we wanted to see if this guy could lose 50 pounds in 30 days or something. And it's like this structured experience that they orchestrated beforehand. The alternative to manufactured is like documentation. We say, I'm trying to get to $2 million a year. I'm at $1 million a year, and here's how it's progressing. And the manufactured tends to perform better, but the documented is a version of that that's a little bit more feasible and sustainable for people. So that should be helpful. Then you also have my list of 79 interview questions here. These are some of my favorite questions to ask when either journaling or coming up with content ideas. And so feel free to use these for ideas. And then how to use media. So there's basically carousels, infographics. You could do tweet screenshots. You could do just screenshots of emails. You could do pictures of yourself, of your family. You could do a lot of different types of media. You could do video. In general, if you have a couple of carousel templates that you can just repeatedly use, that's what I recommend. If you're tweeting on another platform, you can use tweet screenshots. That's pretty easy to do. Go ahead and look and see if there's others that you want to try. Infographics, I'd say, are a little bit tougher, although there are some AI tools that you can just feed it the information and it'll create an infographic for you. So that could be worth trying as well. how to create content that gets leads. So you're posting content, you're writing great hooks, your posts have good formatting. The ideas that you're using are good because you're using those questions that I gave you. And you're starting to see a little bit of traction. You're getting some views, you're getting some engagement. Now, how do you create content that actually gets leads, that gets people to reach out and want to work with you? And so there's 10 different types of lead generating posts that are my personal favorites. And so I would go through those. High level, like I think intro posts are great. You could do those one to start, and then every 6 to 8 weeks afterwards, you could do announcement posts. So if you make a big hire, you land a big client, you launch a new service, every time you do an announcement post, that's really helpful. You could do case study posts, so you kind of show the ideal outcome. So here's where this person started, here's where they ended, here's how we helped them get there. And then people just put themselves in that person's shoes and they say, oh, I want that result. You could do pitch in public posts where you actually tag your prospect and you give them some free consulting. And you say, here's how I would help you do XYZ, whatever the solution that you give to your clients is. That could work really well. You could do public asset breakdown. So if I were a website designer, I could, look at a website every day and break down the parts that I like and the parts I don't like and how I would improve it. You could do soft sell posts. That's where you say something like, we grew by 50% this month. Like, can't believe how much traction there is right now for founder-led content services. Like, and by saying that, it's somewhat of a humble brag, but you're letting people know I'm taking clients, I'm growing fast, people want to work with me. And it gives people a lot of FOMO, and they are more likely to reach out to you. You can do viral giveaway posts where you say, I built this valuable resource, this LinkedIn 101 guide, and I'm happy to share it with you. Just comment 101 and I'll send it to you. And, because they comment, other people see it and it gets a lot of traction. That's why they're called viral giveaways. And a lot of people join your email list. They come and check this page out. Maybe you have a call to action on the page. And yeah, those are some of the types of posts that consistently generate leads. And then you leverage LinkedIn to grow your newsletter. And so there's 5 tactics really that work very well for LinkedIn. The first is that viral giveaway thing that I told you. The second is a version of that, which is, we call it a 2-step post, but you basically just do a regular LinkedIn post, but at the bottom you say, P.S., by the way, do you want a related resource comment to get? And so it's like a viral giveaway, but the whole post isn't orchestrated to encourage the comment to get. It's just like a little P.S. statement at the bottom. That's really helpful. Another one is LinkedIn doesn't penalize you for having links in the posts, or like if there is a penalty, it's very small. And so you can actually just include links in your posts to whatever you're trying to promote. Those are a couple of the ways. You can also drop a comment underneath your post if you are worried about it, even though I just told you it doesn't affect your reach. Another one is you can have in your featured section on your profile, you can make sure that there's a call to action right there for a lead magnet. And that lead magnet takes you to a landing page where they can enter their email. And then lastly, you can have the custom button. So that's where I showed you at the top where it says, so do you see how it says book an appointment right there? That's a custom button. And it shows on your profile right here, book an appointment. You could change the copy to be view my newsletter, which is probably what you want to do if you're trying to grow your email list. But you decide if you want to book calls directly, if you want them to join your email list first or whatever. But that is LinkedIn 101 in a nutshell. I'm going to include this in the description. Feel free to go through, click through. There's a lot of additional resources I didn't cover here, and I hope this is helpful.